Money is like sex. When it comes to having sex or making money, you're supposed to know what you're doing and be great at it, but nobody ever teaches you how. You're not supposed to talk about it because it's inappropriate and not very classy. Yet money and sex can provide immense pleasure, create new life, and ignite violence and divorce. We're ashamed if we don't have it. We're even more embarrassed to admit we want it. And we will do things and people we are not crazy about in order to get it. I'm here to light a fire under our conversations around money. Because right now, we have a problem. Here in the UK, money is the #1 cause of stress. 70% of British workers feel underpaid, and 30% have a side hustle for the #1 reason that their salary isn't enough. And things don't look too different across the pond, where 75% of Americans say money is their top worry. Today, I want to share with you the reason why I believe you might not be making the money you want, especially if you're in business for yourself. And I also want to share what I believe you can do so you never hold yourself back from creating more income. But first, I need to share some context with you. Just over a year ago, I left my job as a McKinsey consultant and started my own business. I logged on to gov.uk and I registered a limited company. It took 10 minutes and about £13. And all I remember thinking at the time was, all I have to do is put revenue in this thing and it'll all be fine. But truth be told, I wasn't entirely clear on what I was going to sell. I just trusted I had the skills to figure it out. But with only 3 months of living costs saved, I knew I had to figure out this revenue thing pretty darn quick. My friends thought I was a little bit crazy. And as my mum said, "You're very brave," which was her way of saying, "What on earth are you doing?" But this was when my real education on money began. There is nothing more insightful into your relationship with money than when you're trying to make it as an entrepreneur. And here's the thing, we all have a relationship with money. You don't need to be a business owner to have a relationship with money. But the challenges of making, managing, and investing money as a business owner is a deeply enlightening microcosm into the way you manage your money and yourself in the rest of your life. My experience of trying to bring revenue into my business made me really curious. And I wanted to know, why are some people able to make more money than others? If you're anything like I was, you'd make economic arguments about supply and demand, having good opportunities, a good education, a great sales strategy, luck, timing, or even being born at the right time and into the right family. And although these all might be factors, I believe there's something else that impacts how much money we make. And that something else is far more within our control than we'd like to admit. And that's our relationship with money. It's our fears, our emotions, and our beliefs towards money. So that you can get a feel for what I mean, I want you to take a look at this beautiful model on the screen for a moment. Some might look at her and think, I want to be friends with her, or even, I want to date her. Some might look at her and think, I bet she's a stuck-up princess who thinks a lot of herself. And others might look at her and feel inadequate, because her perceived beauty makes them feel unattractive in comparison. The picture of the model is just a physical object, just like money. Yet we all have different responses to the same thing, which then leads us to act in different ways. And this is what I mean by our relationship with money. So how can you improve your relationship with money so you're never holding yourself back from creating more income? You might have First, we need to know where our relationship with money is created. Behaviour experts at the University of Cambridge have found that the vast majority of our money beliefs are formed by the age of 7. And once we have those money beliefs, they're very difficult to change. When I asked my friends about their first memory of money, one told me she'd seen her parents fight over money a lot. So for her, money equaled conflict, drama, and sadness. So she subconsciously repelled having too much money in case it caused pain in her own life. Her experience is supported by neuroscience, which tells us that only 10% of our brain is conscious. The other 90% is subconscious, which is where all our habits, memories, and beliefs are stored. Biology professor Bruce Lipton describes the subconscious mind as running programs that are 1,000,000 times more powerful than our conscious mind. So, if you're wondering why you don't have more money, it could be that your positive conscious thoughts about making more money are in conflict with the much more powerful programming in your subconscious. And I came up against this head on when not too long ago, I found myself sat at my laptop creating an invoice. And a wash of discomfort and resistance came over me. My conscious brain was thinking, yes, please pay me £20,000. Well, another part of me was feeling uncomfortable about taking that money. I found myself questioning whether the work I did was good enough. Was the client happy? Was my time worth that amount of money? Were my skills really that valuable? In other words, I was questioning whether I felt worthy of receiving that money. Now, this might sound completely ridiculous to some of you. So if you've never directly asked for money for work you've done, I want you to take a moment to imagine asking your boss for a pay rise and see what resistance comes up for you there. Or maybe you've helped someone with something they'd usually pay for. Maybe you coached a friend for a job interview, or gave your old phone to your cousin, and both of these people wanted to pay you in return. And you might have felt weird accepting that money. You may have even said, no, I'll do it for free, and considered it to be doing something out of the goodness of your own heart. But it would have also given you an insight into how you feel about directly receiving money, and how you feel about that. So this uncomfortable, awkward moment with my invoice led me to open the next Pandora's box on our relationship with money. And that's our money and our self-worth. Or in other words, how valuable we believe we are. Depending on your background, you may or may not openly compare your salary with your friends. But most of us are interested to know how much we earn relative to our peers. So why is this? I believe the reason is simple. We're interested to know how valuable we are. Now, of course, you know your value is not dependent on your income. But in reality, how often is this applied? According to my observations, it's not very often. The fact that people compare their material assets is a good indication. The car that you drive, the house you live in, the school you send your kids to, or maybe even the holidays you go on. All these material assets and possessions are evidence of your earning capabilities. The more expensive they are, the better you might feel about yourself. So intrinsically, we have knowingly or unknowingly associated our self-worth with our income. Academic research also tells us that increased self-worth is positively correlated with financial satisfaction. So, whether we like it or not, sadly, many of us entangle our value to the number in our bank accounts. Now, I don't want you to confuse your net worth for your self-worth, but if believing you're not good enough is stopping you from going for the higher paid job, or it's stopping you from increasing the prices in your business, then it's time to increase your feeling of worthiness. So, how do you do this? You might have heard of using positive affirmations to imprint your subconscious with positive ideas about yourself. But honestly, this can be like putting glitter on a dog turd. Because if you hold negative beliefs about yourself, then layering on a sugar coating of positive affirmations is unlikely to get you very far. Instead, I invite you to do something else. I invite you to release your self-criticism. When I finally let go of my own self-judgment, I was able to build a much stronger sense of worthiness. But I used to be so bad for this. I'd be in the middle of conversations and be thinking of all the ways in which I wasn't coming across in the right way. I'd receive compliments and assume the person was just being nice and didn't actually mean what they said. I'd attribute my success to luck, timing, or something else outside of myself. And I'd often be looking for confirmation from other people that I was doing okay. I know I'm not the only one. And I'm sure you've played similar stories in your own mind. So next time you criticize yourself, I challenge you to stop your inner critic in its tracks and replace the thought with something more compassionate. Forgive yourself for the screw-up. Stop the comparison-itis and find reasons to be proud of yourself, even if it's really hard. 4 in 5 of us have a self-worth deficit. So there is huge potential for almost all of us to increase our self-worth and reap the benefits. The economic reasons for why some people make more money than others are valid. But I've also found we don't give ourselves permission to make more money, for fear of breaking the subconscious money beliefs we learnt as children, and for fear of receiving more money than we really feel worthy of. So, by changing the story you choose to tell about yourself, you naturally begin to change your financial reality, because you find that you are worthy and you are worth it. Thank you.